So I think this is crazy, but I have actually been a self-employed full-time entrepreneur since the summer of 2015. So it's been almost 6 years now, which blows my mind. And I support a lot of entrepreneurs in being able to quit their own 9-to-5 jobs to pursue full-time entrepreneurship. And I often talk about what to have in place in terms of your business to feel better when it comes to making that leap. However, today I wanted to share with you some things to consider as you're making that move from quitting your job, quitting your 9-to-5 to pursuing full-time entrepreneurship, especially the things that I personally considered. So hopefully you can think about them before you take that leap. Now, before we get started, if you know that you want to be a full-time entrepreneur at some point, or you already are a full-time entrepreneur, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe so you can be updated with future Heart Behind Hustle TV videos. All right, guys, let's get started. Number one is health insurance. So I live in the United States where the healthcare system is, I would say, ideal. It's definitely a little bit challenging because you are required or recommended to have your own health insurance that you pay yourself. And obviously that's a pretty big expense. So this was actually the biggest thing that I had as a concern when I was quitting my day job. Now, fortunately, when I quit my day job, I was able to stay on that same health insurance plan for about a year afterwards. It was a short-term plan that I was still able to get a great deal. I mean, I was on such a great health insurance. I don't even know how it was possible. I didn't know anything about health insurance, actually. So I thought paying like whatever, it was like $250 a month or $200 a month was normal to have like the best freaking insurance ever, where I never had to pay for anything, literally. And then I was in for a rude awakening when I had to get my own health insurance and seeing how much it actually costs. So for me, it's about like $500 a month, which is crazy for one person, a single one person. It's pretty much a lot. And because of it, I will be honest, I sometimes only go for catastrophic insurance or no insurance at all. I know it's not ideal, but you know, you have to make a decision on what you're going to do. Now there's an out for this. If you are married and your spouse does have health insurance from their company, you know, you could potentially get put on that, and that kind of makes everything a lot easier. But if you're single like me, that can be a little bit more challenging. So look at all the options of what's available and see what you can do from there. You know, like I said, I know a lot of people that actually end up going without health insurance. I wouldn't say something I recommend because, you know, I think it's great and I definitely recommend it to be protected. But, you know, there's just all sorts of things you need to consider. What are you going to do? How are you going to put the money aside to make that work? And yeah, just go from there. Number two, part-time work or consulting work with the same company as you transition. This is something that I did with the company I was in. So I was working for a marketing agency as a social media strategist, and I was actually pretty much the only social media person at that company. And I had multiple clients underneath me. So when I was ready to quit my job and tell them like, you know, goodbye, it was great talking, you know, great knowing you, I'm out. We actually were able to come to an agreement for me to continue working on one specific client as we continued, because they had a lot of turnover in my company. And they were like, look, if we bring on one other new person, this client is probably going to leave, because they had so much turnover, so many new account managers over the year that they had this client. So they were going to pay me like, I don't know, it was a decent amount of money per month just to work on that one client, which actually ended up being probably 5 hours of work a week. And I was getting maybe $1,000 a month. So for someone that's going from, you know, full-time salary, yay, and of course my business, I actually found that having a little bit of a safety blanket, not that $1,000 is like significant in the grand scheme of things, it's not gonna pay my rent or anything, but it still helps. So I saw it as another client, which they were another client, and I was able to basically leave this job with a new client and continue doing that. I believe I did it for like a year afterwards, which just made everything a lot easier. It was such an easy job. And as my business was growing, I was able to have just basically additional income that was pretty easy to make. Number three, have some money put aside in a savings account or an emergency fund. This is something I did not do. In fact, I didn't start getting into financial responsibility and just being smart financially until actually probably 2 years ago. No one really taught me this, and this is exactly why I decided to create a brand new YouTube channel, Money Like Honey. Check it out. Now, when I decided to quit my job to focus on my business full-time, I did already have a projected specific monthly income coming in. I was projecting projecting it at about 8 to 10 to 12,000 a month. So I felt pretty secure. I structured my business to allow for projected income, so I felt pretty good in that sense. However, there was, a few years after that I was still like kind of in that hustle mode, because if I stopped, it's like, what was going to happen? I had no money saved up. So although I did have money in my checking account at any given time, and a decent amount in my checking account, that money was going out to, contractors, softwares, ads, whatever. And I didn't have anything off to the side to allow me to feel secure and allow me to feel just, like protected in case something was to happen. So for anyone that is going to be quitting their job, definitely consider having at least 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses in a specific savings account. Which brings me to number 4, which is have projected income coming in for the next several months so that you're not starting from scratch every single month. This is so huge, and this is what I teach my clients all the time. It is so important for you to create a predictable income model in your business. Specifically, if you're a coach, healer, service provider, course creator, whatever, you're one of my people, right? Now, if you're selling products or you have a kind of a different business model, I don't necessarily know how that's going to look like. That's not my specialty. But if you are one of the businesses that I mentioned, it is a good idea for you to know that, like, okay, with the current clients that I have coming in who are on installment plans or whatever, I have specific money coming in for the next 4 or 6 months that will at least cover my living expenses. Knowing this is going to give you so much freedom and just a sense of relief that you don't have to hustle every single month. And of course, you will want to grow your business. So you're not going to be starting from scratch, so you're not going to have to experience as much of that income roller coaster, which is honestly just not good for anyone's sanity, really. And number 5 is to stay committed to a specific schedule. The thing that a lot of people realize when they quit their job to focus on their business full time, or even if they're moving to a remote job, is that being self-starting is actually quite the skill. And a lot of people do not have this skill. A lot of people are not willing to build that up. And the fact is, if you're working for yourself, it is so extremely important for you to be a self-starter, for you to commit to doing the work and not just lounging around all day watching Netflix, reading books, playing games, whatever. It is really important that you're doing the stuff you need to be doing every single week. Now, once your business gets to a specific point where you're sustained, you have 6 figures in your business and it's just kind of like, yay, it's great. You get to have a lot more time to relax and just hang out and enjoy your life. But if you're not there yet, if you feel like you need to keep growing to feel that sense of security, you're gonna need to make sure you're putting yourself in a specific schedule. So anytime that I have someone that maybe is struggling a little bit in the business and they are working full time, I actually recommend that they put themselves on potentially like a 9 to 5 schedule. Not exactly that, but if you were to go to a 9 to 5 job, you would be at the job working for, 8 hours. It doesn't have to mean that you need to work for 8 hours, but treat your business the same. Like, commit to a specific time block where maybe you're definitely working on a specific task from, 9 to 10. And then, from 10 to 12, you're doing maybe client calls. And then you have lunch, and then you do something else, and treat yourself like an employee in a sense. Did you actually do the work you needed to do? If you were the boss, would you be happy with the performance of this employee that is you? Would you have actually felt like you earned the money? So this is a great way for you to think about yourself a little bit differently to ensure that you're actually being productive, you're getting the work done, and moving on from there. Again, this is not something I recommend for everyone, but definitely something for you to consider if you struggle with being productive, with getting stuff done, because all of a sudden you have all this time freedom and before you know it, it's like, oh crap, I got no new sales, I got no money coming in. We do not want that to happen to you. I don't want you to go back to your 9 to 5 job if that's not what you envision for yourself. So these are my 5. If you have another one, drop it in the comments. Would love to hear what your biggest thing was that you learned as you quit your job, or that you're considering and thinking about right now, if you're in the process of quitting your job or thinking about it. And hopefully this is helpful. I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.